Hey, come watch this video.
Yeah, sure.
The question is, how do democracies respond to those scandals?
And what will it mean for the wider region? I think one of your children has just walked in. I mean, shifting sands in the region. Do you think relations with the North may change?
I would be surprised if they do. Pardon me.
That's all right, carry on.
My apologies.
What's this going to mean for the region?
My apologies. South Korea's policy choices on North Korea have been severely limited in the last 6 months to a year.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, thanks for sharing though. You reminded me of a trip we took to Korea. Some of my friends, we did a 30-day trip to Korea, and well, South Korea to be specific, and that reminds me, do you know where that video started from?
No, I don't. Where was it?
Well, it has to do with their impeachment of their president, and so let me go back a little bit and share some of the history of Korea.
Okay, sounds good.
South Korea history. As early as 3000 BC, early Korean civilization grows with settlers from Central Asia. In 7000 BC, immigrants that came from China taught new rice growing techniques to the settlers there. In the year 2000 BC, laws are being established as states are established as well. A new writing system that uses Chinese characters is established. In 1392 is the start of the Yi dynasty, and the country is renamed Chosun. This lasts more than 500 years. During the years between 1592 and 1598, Korea is invaded by the Japanese military led by ruler Hideyoshi Tomoto. In 1895, it's during this time Japan defeats China in the Sino-Japanese War, which ended the influence of China over Korea. In 1905, the Russo-Japanese War ends, and Japan gains control of Korea from Russia. 1945, with Japan surrendering at the end of World War II, is when Korea is divided into North and South zones at the 38th parallel. The Soviet troops occupy the North, while U.S. troops are in the South. In 1948, the Republic of Korea is established in the South, and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea is established in the North. Between the years 1950 and 1953, the South declares independence. This sparks North Korea to invade South Korea. The United Nations sends a multinational force to aid the South, and a truce is declared. In 1988, the Olympic Games are hosted in Seoul. Also during this year is the first free preliminary elections. In 1998, President Kim Dae-jung begins the Sunshine Policy to encourage open relations with North Korea. In 2000, President Kim Dae-jung meets with North Korean President Kim Jong-un in the Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea. This ends up being the first meeting between the two countries in the first 50 years. This president is the first South Korean president to win the Nobel Peace Prize. In 2012, South Korea elects its first female president, Park Geun-hye. In 2013, South Korea launches a satellite into orbit for the first time from its own soil, following weeks after North Korea did the same. In 2016, President Park is impeached because she allowed a friend with no government position to meddle in affairs of state. At the end of the year, Prime Minister Hwang Kang-yeon is appointed acting president until the Constitutional Court decides whether to uphold a preliminary vote to impeach President Park. Just this past March, President Park is formally removed from office, and on May 9th, they will elect a new president, as by law they must elect a new president within 60 days.
The family unit is an integral part of customs and life in South Korea. In a family, the oldest son must carry on the family line. Korean children end up with a debt to their parents. As they grow older, they take care of their parents by allowing them to live in their home and by supporting them. So, there are typically 2 generations in a household. In order for the children to repay the entire debt, they must have their own children to continue the family line. So they obviously take great pride in their relatives, even ones from thousands of years ago. Given the fact that the oldest son must care for their parents as they grow older, it used to be that he would receive more of the parents' inheritance. The excuse was that they'd have added expenses to care for the parents. Today, they've made it that all children receive equal amounts, though. To pay respects after the parents pass, they mourn them at their funeral and even perform ceremonies. Your age defines who you are in South Korea. For example, when a picture is taken, the parents are typically at the front while children are behind them to show respect. The older you are, the more respect you earn in South Korea. Traditional marriages were always arranged by the parents. They would either take their child to a matchmaker or choose one themselves. Back then, it depended on who had the most money. The matchmaker would research the family, like their background, finances, and physical appearance. Obviously, marriages back then weren't based off of love, more so to benefit the families by increasing their wealth. Today, partner-chosen marriages are increasing. But some children don't want to upset their parents, though, so they compromise. The children let family members recommend eligible partners, and then the child would choose one of those partners. Traditional wedding ceremonies would consist of the groom traveling in a palanquin to the bride's home to sip wine at their first meeting. The bride would wear a wonsum, which is the top coat, a dae-dae, which is the belt that would go over a top coat, the jokduri, which is a ceremonial headpiece, a yongjum, which is the long hair pin that goes into the bride's hair, and then a denji, which is a long silk piece that hangs down the back, but it attaches to the jokduri. The groom, on the other hand, would wear a paji, which are wide pants, and then a chigori, which is a traditional jacket. Getting married was a big deal, so parents typically invited everyone they knew, which could result in 500 guests for the couple. Guests never brought gifts, only money. The bills must be new and put into a special white wedding envelope. Today, majority of Koreans have Western-style weddings, though. Brides will wear a white wedding dress while grooms wear a tuxedo. They will eventually change into traditional Korean clothing later in a separate, smaller room. In the past, Koreans preferred simple, white clothing, but then they started wearing bright colors, as pictured, for special occasions and eventually all the time. They used many different types of fabric, such as hemp, rami, cotton, and silk. Today, they prefer Western-style clothing. Koreans will still wear their traditional clothing for holidays and special occasions like birthdays or weddings, but typically wear Western-style clothing every day. Traditionally, women were confined to their homes, taking care of household chores and the children. Now, Korean women work or go to school and still do chores and take care of children. It is also customary for the wife to take care of the husband's elderly parents if they live in their home. So on top of working, chores, and caring for the children, they must support their husband's parents. South Korea was and still is male-dominated. Males work while the woman stays home.
In South Korea, almost half the population identifies with having no religious affiliation. About 1/4 of the population is Christian, 1/4 is Buddhist, and about 2% have other religions. In Buddhist temples, swastikas are a commonly used symbol. This is a religious symbol to the Koreans and does not represent Nazism or anti-Semitism. The swastika was a religious symbol long before it was used by Buddhism, and several other religions use it as their symbol. This symbol represents the intersection of two truths. The vertical line indicates truth of universality, meaning truth remains equal for all life forms. The horizontal line indicates the truth of eternity, meaning truth remains unchanged over time. The bending of the arms of the cross create a wheel-like symbol, added to the idea that truth never stops moving. Solal, the Chinese New Year, is one of the most celebrated national holidays in South Korea. The celebration lasts for 3 days, the day before, the day of, and the day after. This celebration is also known as the Spring Festival or the Lunar New Year. During the celebration, Koreans usually wear traditional clothing, perform ancestral rites, play folk games, eat traditional foods, and tell stories. Preparation for the celebration starts a week in advance. Many travel to their hometowns for the celebration. The morning of Solal begins with the family members gathering in special clothing for an ancestral rite. The ritual is conducted to express respect and gratitude for one's ancestors. Following the rite, everyone gathers together and eats ritual food. The main dish of the day is a traditional soup made with sliced rice cakes, beef, egg, vegetables, and many other ingredients. After the meal, younger generations take a deep bow to their elders and present them with gifts. One of the most common family activities is Yup Nori, a board game that involves throwing 4 wooden sticks and moving your game markers around the board depending on the number of spacing up sticks. In Korea, the birthday of Buddha is celebrated according to the lunar calendar. It falls on the 8th day of the 4th month, which would be May 6th this year. This holiday is not only celebrated by those who pray at Buddhist temples on a daily basis, but the general public also enjoy the celebration. It is a carnival day when Korean culture and tradition is celebrated. Many temples will provide free meals and tea to all visitors. The meal often consists of a dish containing mixed rice and vegetables. Outside the temples, there are organized games, dances, and acrobatic shows. And Buddha's birthday is also known as the Festival of Lanterns. Colored paper lanterns with candles inside them are made. On the bottom of the lanterns, a tag is connected, and individuals write their name with a wish or hope on it. Children's Day was founded by a Korean children's writer in 1923, but did not become a national holiday until 1975. The celebration was made for a way to inspire children to have a sense of independence and national pride. Children's Day highlights the dignity of children and their need for love, care, and respect. It is also a day to honor adults who have contributed to improving the lives of children. A great variety of celebratory and fun events for the children are held across the country. Many cities have parades and public activities offer free admission to children. Children receive gifts from their parents and from any stores they visit during the day. Taekwondo demonstrations are often part of the day's activities as well. Chuseok is one of the largest and most important holidays in Korea. Families gather to share food, stories, and give thanks to their ancestors. This seasonal festival is on the 25th day of the 8th lunar month and brings families together for memorial service for their ancestors and celebratory events. There are many different activities and duties families perform for this day. These include ancestor memorial services, visiting ancestral graves, cleaning the weeds from the graves, traditional Korean wrestling, performing traditional dances, and eating traditional dishes. One dance that is commonly performed at many celebrations, festivals, and traditional Korean holidays is the Buchachim dance. This is also known as the fan dance. Dancers all wear identical outfits. The main outfit is a coat and skirt with long flowing sleeves and a phoenix embroidered on the front and back. Dancers all hold large fans that are painted with bright images of flowers. While native to Korea, Buchachim has traveled to other places and is taught by community groups all over the world.
We are really impressed about the South Korean culture. The South Korean family is a great example of the family unit. The most thing that impressed us of the family unit is that the brothers get adult and they become responsible about their parents and brothers. Our view and opinions changed 100% about South Korean people. We had not known about their culture as we do now. Their culture is very different from the American culture, and it has many similarities from the Saudi culture. For better understanding while working with members of the culture group in the future, we think the group should have more people from completely different culture. We are really fascinated by the Korean holidays, and they are great, and we think it is amazing to go there and celebrate with them at least one of their holidays.